the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? What's the deal, y'all? We back in this thing, like, cook, cracking this thing, man. Make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment, make sure y'all subscribe for all this good content we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Tap in with the tap in when you are tapping all the way in and get involved in what we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Hit that subscription button, become part of the Trap Mafia. Hit that notification bell at the top. Hit also tapped in for the latest and the greatest. What we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Make sure you hit that description button and follow the new page if you ain't following the new page, and get involved in everything we got going on at that new page, man. Broke Baby Mama out now on all streaming platforms. Get into that if you ain't got into that, man. Top of the tops, man. We finna jump into this content. We got some things to do today, man. So I'm trying to give y'all as much as I can as early as I can. Give y'all as much as I can as early as I can, man. We finna jump into a full breakdown from an expert's perspective of this Diddy situation. For those of y'all who don't know, Diddy done got arrested. He locked up right now. He is in a federal facility in New York. They not letting Diddy go. Diddy don't got no bail. Diddy don't got no bail, you feel me? And I don't know what Diddy did, but Diddy don't got no bail. Well, I do know what Diddy did. I know what they saying he did. We're going to get into that. But Diddy don't got no bail, and they feel like he is better left within incarceration than on the streets. So without holding y'all no longer, man, finna jump right into this content. Excuse me, finna jump right into this content. Let me see. Hold on. Boom. All right, that's uploaded. Just want to make sure I got that right before I switched it over. All right, man, so we taking y'all to CNN, and here's what an expert thinks about Diddy's. Let me see, hold on. Here's what an expert thinks is the most shocking about the Sean Diddy Combs charges.
Alleging that. Let's bring in criminal defense attorney Stacey Schneider. And Stacey, you say today's indictment reads like a mob indictment. What was most shocking to you of all these allegations?
Yeah, the fact, Jake, that the government in this indictment presented evidence alleging that Sean Combs was running a criminal enterprise, and they actually named it in the indictment, the Combs Enterprise. And they said that this enterprise consisted of him as the alleged leader, his employees, assistants, staff, allegedly, that were able to procure women and alleged male sex workers to engage in performances for his own sexual gratification. Where it differs from
50 Cent tried to warn us, and nobody took 50 Cent serious. 50 Cent tried to warn us.
A mob indictment, it has all the elements of putting together this racketeering allegation of all these moving pieces using resources from his businesses. But the fact that this is about an allegation of sexual gratification being accomplished by alleged human trafficking. It's one of the most unique indictments I've ever seen in this area, in the area of sex crimes, because the government isn't actually prosecuting the sex crimes other than the human trafficking or the sex trafficking. They're not prosecuting any type of alleged sexual abuse to women, although that's part of this racketeering scheme. But the actual charges are racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transporting individuals over state lines to engage in prostitution. The reasoning around all of this, his alleged motivation as presented in that indictment by the government is for his own personal gratification. And that's just the strangest type of indictment I've ever seen. But I agree with you. This indictment it's very disturbing. The facts presented are out of, a very bad Hollywood story. And a lot of the evidence, alleged evidence, that's been gathered in this case was from those two raids that were conducted on his personal homes in Miami and Los Angeles. And the indictment names the things seized that he allegedly made videos of these sexual performances that have been named freak-offs. And there seems to be
naming it a freak-off is absolutely barnaculious, Diddy. That's wild. That is wild. That is wild. That is wild. They're trying to give you life, bro.
Ton of evidence allegedly tying this scheme together. So it's an interesting way of prosecuting it, but I understand why they did it that way.
So what did you make of what Elizabeth Wagmeister just reported? And obviously, Sean Diddy Combs and his attorneys they're gonna get their day in court. But the idea that the government, in their characterization, does not say that anybody did any of these things non-consensually. What do you make of that?
I make of that as being a big flaw already in the government's case, which the defense was quick to point out. Even if he was engaging in this alleged conduct, there was no allegation or no statement in that indictment saying that any of these alleged victims or alleged witnesses willingly participated in some of these acts that people find offensive, that are found to be offensive. And that's a very important part of the case. What was the consent? But there are enough charges here where outside of what the alleged victims are going to say about how he was using the resources allegedly from his enterprises, his businesses, his well-known Bad Boy Entertainment, his clothing line resources, his liquor line resources. Allegedly, there were funds used from the resources to engage in this alleged prostitution activity across state lines. And that's why it's a federal case, because it's across straight lines. So there are some problems that the defense has brought up originally, but it seems like, just from reading this 14-page indictment, that there's enough physical evidence to perhaps get it.
When Diddy pissed off that girl Cassie, it was over with. OVA. Over with. When you made that girl hot and she fired you up, what's it, big dog? That was the beginning of the end right there.
Conviction in this case. We shall see. These are allegations.
So the Office of the Southern District of New York seems awfully confident about their ability to handle the scope and complexity of the case. But still, why do you think it took them so long for them to go after Combs, considering the alleged crimes have been going on for more than a decade?
My theory is that the government had an easy time putting together this final prosecution because of all the civil actions existing against Sean Combs right now. The case with Cassie, which that video was shown, his former girlfriend, where he was seen assaulting her. It looked like certainly that he was assaulting her on video. I think the government and investigators were able to accumulate all this easy evidence that was just handed to them from the attorneys who prepared the civil cases that are now pending against him. I think things just started piling up, and eventually...
So it sounds like everybody who had a civil case wasn't tripping. It was like, hey, by the way, criminal charges, y'all can have this paperwork. We did the legwork for you. Go ahead and check that out. You feel me?
Sean Combs got to a place where his luck ran out, and therefore he was indicted and arraigned.
We're going to fight this case with everything we have, as is he, and eventually he's going to be shown to be innocent.
That was the attorney for music mogul Sean Diddy Combs, vowing to fight for Combs after a judge denied the rapper and music mogul bail and ordered him to stay in federal detention until the beginning of his criminal...
Now that's crazy. With all the chili Diddy got, the judge don't care. The judge don't care. All that chili Diddy got, the judge does not give a good goddamn. They think he's a flight risk. They think that he's a menace to society. They think that he's going to basically go out and do the dash or go do this, commit some more crimes or, cause some more chaos in this little world of ours, bro. Diddy's a joker. This is Gotham City, man. They are not letting him back out. The judge does not trust Diddy's decision-making.
Sex crimes trial. Combs faces 3 federal charges: racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. Combs has pleaded not guilty to those charges. In an unsealed indictment, prosecutors allege Combs, quote, abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct, unquote. It goes on to say, quote, on numerous occasions from at least in or about 2009 and continuing for years, Combs assaulted women, among other things, striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them, unquote. Combs has been for years a celebrated artist. His work is credited with growing the hip-hop genre and cultivating top artists such as Christopher Wallace, better known as Notorious B.I.G. And now Combs is obviously a criminal defendant. CNN's Ellie Honig, who used to work as a prosecutor for the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York, joins us now. Ellie, as he was leaving court for the day, Combs' attorney said they're appealing the decision on bail. How likely is that appeal to succeed?
Right, Jake. So people understand what happened. The judge who made the decision today was a magistrate judge. That is essentially a judge who handles ministerial tasks, initial appearances. Tomorrow, the defense will take the case to the district judge. That's the judge who will handle this case all the way through trial. If I had to guess, I would say the district judge will agree with the magistrate judge and keep Sean Combs locked up. First of all...
Damn. So the interim judge and the judge is saying negative. You can't go nowhere. or he's looking like the interim judge is going to be agreed with by the main judge of a shush. Shush. You gone, Diddy. You gone. Yeah, that's that. I don't know who he pissed off at the top to start this domino of downward motion, but you are out of here, big dog.
The law says that when a person's facing the charges Sean Combs is facing, the presumption is that he gets locked up pending trial. So the field is automatically tilted in the prosecution's favor. He is looking at a minimum of 15 years behind bars if he's convicted. The prosecutors argued that. And finally, prosecutors argued intensely that Sean Combs is engaged in constant obstruction of justice, intimidating witnesses, bribing witnesses, and that usually strikes a chord with judges when they're considering bail.
What do you make of the charges and the indictment? Does it seem solid to you? One of the responses from Sean Combs' defense team seemed to be...
Now, can you imagine when Diddy's under them hot lights, when Diddy's under that fire, he start reading off his little black book of who else was at these freak off parties with whatever celebrities? Bro is like the hip hop Epstein. Can you imagine when the list of everybody who attended these freaky parties gets slipped into the public? It's gonna be UGLY. You ain't got no alibi. It's ugly. Yeah, it's ugly. Not to mention that they probably didn't tap this man's phone. Not to mention that Diddy got a habit of putting all this type of stuff on camera. So when the tapes come out, it's gonna be tricky.
They don't have anybody who alleges that they did anything non-consensual.
Yeah, I don't get that read out of the indictment. Of course, we're hearing from both sides. Now, it strikes me as a strong indictment. We do have to keep in mind it's a one-sided document. It's the prosecution's allegations. But a couple things jump out to me. First of all, they have videotape. We've all seen the videotape of the assault on one of those women who's alleged to be a victim. That's going to be a really tough piece of evidence for the defense. And if you look beyond the indictment, there was a companion document filed today that says that prosecutors have talked to and plan to call dozens of victims and witnesses. So even if the defense can discredit one or two or three, they're going to have to deal with dozens of victims pointing the finger at Sean Combs.
So you used to specialize in prosecuting racketeering cases at this U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yeah.
How exactly do racketeering charges play out here, and how does it give prosecutors an advantage?
Racketeering charges are such a powerful weapon for prosecutors, and I used to use that tool quite effectively, I think. What prosecutors have done here is allege that Sean Combs was at the head of an organization, a racketeering organization, a criminal enterprise that committed multiple crimes that were connected to one another. And what that allows you to do as a prosecutor is to pour in evidence of all manner of crimes. And here prosecutors allege that Sean Combs committed this enterprise by committing assault, extortion, drug trafficking, with firearms offenses, with obstruction of justice. And so you end up as a prosecutor able to put this massive evidence of various types of crimes in front of a jury. So it's a lot for defense lawyers to respond to, and it really is an advantage for prosecutors if they can prove the core allegations.
You're familiar with not only this prosecutor's office, but the judge assigned in this case. Tell us about them.
Yeah, so Judge Andrew Carter, first of all, is assigned to this case. He was a magistrate, as I mentioned before, in Brooklyn before this. His background primarily has been as a defense lawyer. He was a longtime public defender. He's deeply respected in the New York legal community. The prosecuting office here is the Southern District of New York. Maybe I'm biased. I used to work there. But it's known for charging and getting convictions in high-profile, high-stakes case. That's what the Southern District has done for decades now. They're no strangers to this type of case. I will say, at the risk of sounding like a homer, if they bring a case, they typically have the goods. They have their case buttoned up.
All right, Ellie Honig, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I mean, that's typically how the feds play. Like the feds come to play ball. Like if they there, they pretty much got everything they need to bust. They want to step like Sierra. You feel me? They're not there looking for a date. They're there because they're ready to become prom king.
Run this with our legal and entertainment experts. And Joey Jackson, I'll start with you. How much does it speak to the severity of these charges against Combs that the judge denied his bail?
Says everything, Wolf, for a variety of factors. Number one, certainly, generally, you would be given bail if there's any condition or combination of conditions that would ensure, A, you return to court, and B, there's an issue as to whether you're a danger to the community. Because of the manner in which the indictment was laid out, speaking about over a 16-year period, allegations with respect to what he allegedly did, it becomes problematic. Let me tell you what the concerns are very briefly. Number one, you have very motivated accusers, right? right? Very motivated people. We know that because they laid out the allegations in lawsuits. Lawsuits are civil in nature, not criminal. But I think that provided a treasure trove of information.
That's
There are no
pivotal.
strangers to this type of case.
Listen to what they saying. It's somebody's mad at this nigga. Somebody is highly upset at this nigga. They didn't go for criminal charges at first. They went for civil charges to destroy him as a person and all this kind of wooty. Really listen to what they saying, bro.
I will say, at the risk of sounding like a homer, if they bring a case, they typically have the goods. They have their case buttoned up.
All right, Ellie Honig, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Let's get some more on this with our legal and entertainment experts. And Joey Jackson, I'll start with you. How much does it speak to the severity of these charges against Combs that the judge denied his bail?
Says everything, Wolf, for a variety of factors. Number one, certainly, generally, you would be given bail if there's any condition or combination of conditions that would ensure, A, you return to court, and B, there's an issue as to whether you're a danger to the community. Because of the manner in which the indictment was laid out, speaking about over a 16-year period, allegations with respect to what he allegedly did, it becomes problematic. Let me tell you what the concerns are very briefly. Number one, you have very motivated accusers, right? Very motivated people. We know that because
very motivated accusers. Pay attention.
They laid out the allegations in lawsuits. Lawsuits are civil in nature, not criminal. But I think that provided a treasure trove of information for the federal government to do what they did. Number two, with respect to the seizure of things, right? Evidence from his properties in California and Miami, videos, the other things in terms of Elizabeth's excellent piece moving into this, the lubricant, the cocaine, the other things that were taken, drugs with
lubricant and cocaine is crazy.
Have you, it's really concerning. And so at the end of the day, Wolf, it's going to be established with proof or not proof. But here's the last thing. This is a case, the United States of America versus Sean Combs. Why do I say that? Because a lot of other people who could have been charged in this indictment with him were not. What does that say to me as a defense attorney? That they are cooperating with the government. So you have the accusers that are there giving their story, innocent until proven guilty, but you have other people who you could say were his enablers who are not being looked at by the government, who are looking at helping the government prove their case. So it says an awful lot that he's detained at this point without bail. There'll be an appeal on that issue. We'll see what a court has to say thereafter.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Lisa Bonner is with us as well. Lisa, to Joey's point, and he made very strong points, the judge said in her words, and I'm quoting her now, my concern is this is a crime that happens behind closed doors, even when pretrial services is monitoring. It's pretty chilling. What do you make of that?
Well, I make of that they really do believe that Sean Combs is a flight risk, and they also really believe that he is a danger to society. As Joey said, no, he did not act alone. So there were enablers from his employees, his coworkers, his assistants, to other people in law enforcement that have aided and abetted him in carrying out these crimes. So the judge made clear that there was nothing that he could really.
That's when things are gonna get tricky, when they start talking about who helped him pull these whoopty bams and these flu flams and these skullduggeries. You feel me? That's when things is gonna get real tricky, big dog. That's when it's gonna get ugly. You feel me? It's gonna get ugly.
He could, determine that will really grant bail. Now, I wanted to point out that this is a magistrate judge, and the magistrate judge is really more ministerial in nature, meaning that tomorrow or the day after or sooner after that, this case will be given to the district judge who will be hearing this. Now, at that point, they will indeed try to, his defensive team will indeed try to convince the judge once again that Sean is not a flight risk and that he should be entitled to bail. I personally do not see that happening for the reasons that I mentioned, but that is what they will argue.
Interesting. Lisa Respers-France is with us as well. Lisa, that very disturbing video of Combs abusing Casey Ventura at that hotel in Los Angeles was a key point of evidence in today's hearing. How significant was that? And put into perspective for us Combs' enormous fall from grace.
It was very significant because up until that point, people were saying that Cassie Ventura and other people who were accusing him were lying and just going for a big payday.
The video of him whooping Cassie, barnacles.
Here we see with our own eyes actually what happened and that her allegations were true. And so it's been very difficult for Diddy because he's a much bigger star than just hip hop. You know, people think of him in terms of being a rapper and a producer, but he had a fashion line. He had spirits. He had a restaurant. Like, Diddy is probably one of the biggest stars of our time. And so to see him go from last year in September receiving a key to the city in New York, where Diddy has literally referred to himself as the king of New York, Wolf. And so this was a big deal. And then in June, after we aired that exclusive video, Mayor Adams then asked for that key back. And so Diddy returned the key because he had to, because it became such a huge deal. Because it's one thing to be accused in a civil case or civil cases when it comes to Diddy, but it's quite another thing to see with our own eyes someone being brutally abused like Cassie Ventura was. And so consequently, Wolf, when you had that, it opened up the possibility that other people must not be lying either, is how a lot of people in the industry felt. And I personally, I don't see how he comes back from this.
Yeah, we showed our viewers some video of Combs actually.
He probably not gonna be able to come back from this. It's probably over for this, bro.
Receiving that key to the city of New York. Joey, you heard Combs' attorney say they're appealing this decision in a hearing tomorrow. What would they try to argue to get this bail decision reversed, and how likely is that?
So, Wolf, what they will argue is we know that at the outset of this case that he moved to New York. And what they're going to say is that, listen, he wasn't fleeing anywhere. Yes, he's well-resourced. Yes, he can go to anywhere really in the world if he wanted to. But he didn't. He came here to New York to fight the charges. Number two, in addition to coming to New York, he offered to surrender. They chose it as prosecutors to get him at the hotel. Why? That was the indication that they were going to look to detain him, right, indefinitely until the case comes. And number three, they'll argue that, yes, these are decades allegations in terms of 2008 to present, but what they will say is that, you know, he hasn't, as of late, been certainly a danger to the community, and these certainly are allegations. Last point, Wolf, and that's this. These are life-changing allegations. Every indictment is, but there's also a forfeiture provision in here. So irrespective of whether he's detained or he's out, if he's convicted on this, and it's an indictment which is a mere allegation, this has to be proven in court to be clear, but if he's convicted, the government can forfeit everything from the criminal enterprise. That is his world. That means the government could take everything and anything that was a result, right, of proceeds from who he is and what he does, entertainment or otherwise. So this could change his life as he knows it, and ultimately that's going to depend upon whether the government proves the case beyond a reasonable doubt.
Potentially, he could spend many, many years in prison, right, Joey? Maybe the rest of his life?
Without question. You're looking at potentially a 15-year mandatory minimum, in addition to, it depends, of course, a life sentence. Now, in the federal government...
15 at the minimum, an elbow at the mizzos. Goodness gracious.
Very briefly, there are these sentencing guidelines. Sentencing guidelines are predicated upon who you are, but listen, these allegations could keep him behind the bars for a long time.
Certainly true. Lisa Bonner, let me go back to you. In cases like this, how much do you weigh putting the survivors through a trial versus exploring potentially a plea deal that could spare them having to testify?
Well, I don't foresee them really accepting a plea. At this point, there is so much evidence that is levied against him, and the indictment is very strong. It is specific, it is laid out in detail, and it is very extensive. And so when you look at that and you look at the vehement denials that Sean has given over the course of this past year, and it wasn't until the video evidence came out with Cassie Ventura, where he was seen brutally beating her, kicking her, dragging her by the hair, throwing a vase at her. And so at this point, really, he was really denying all of that. So I don't really foresee that changing. He had an opportunity at some point. He knew this was coming. He still was trying to negotiate a surrender versus a plea. So I really don't think that they're going to be inclined to offer a plea, or will Sean be inclined to offer or accept one? So I do see this playing out in court, very similar to what R. Kelly did. And that was tried over just across the bridge at the Eastern District of New York. So I really do not foresee any kind of plea. And it is unfortunate for the survivors because we are pitting them up against the evidence and having to speak on that.
All right, Lisa, thank you. Lisa, Joey, and Lisa, thanks to all of you. Appreciate it very much.
Our legal analyst is Michael Moore. Michael's with me now. Let's just deal with the, if you will, the the logistics before we turn to the gravamen. The refusal of bail in these circumstances, bearing in mind he'd flown to New York to turn himself in, so he was preempted by the police. Are you surprised that he was refused bail?
Well, I'm glad to be with you. I'm not surprised at all. I mean, the nature of these charges are so serious, the allegations are so serious, that it's not surprising that this hearing he was denied bail. The judge has to look at things like whether or not he can be expected to return to court. Does he have the manner and means to perhaps evade law enforcement and not appear? Is he a flight risk, in other words? And so I think at this point the judge has decided that the fact that he was doing these acts in secret did not obviously lend much to his statements that he will be open and available. So I'm not surprised at all. But again, we will see what the district judge now does since the case has been, or the decision has been at least appealed, whether or not there are some terms of bail that might make the court comfortable that he will show up for court.
Now, turning to the charges themselves, they are amongst the most serious, which would involve very long periods of incarceration if convicted. But it also raises the question, if there was a plea deal at some point in the future, to plead down from these very serious charges, the lesser accepted offences would also be serious and could end up in prison.
I think any plea discussion of the case, because you have such significant impact on the victims of the case, would necessitate that he be sentenced to prison in some way. I just don't think that a judge would take and place him on probation or some type of house arrest given the allegations that were made, no matter what the plea discussions were. And remember, the prosecution and a defendant can negotiate a plea amongst themselves, but a court has the decision finally on whether or not to accept that recommendation, and ultimately has the authority to make a decision about whether or not a prison sentence is appropriate. We operate under the federal sentencing guidelines. Those give the judge some parameters to consider, things like whether or not somebody accepts responsibility, whether or not there have been an adverse impact on victims, whether or not there's been excessive fraud and deceit through the investigation of the case. Those things come into play as we talk about what might happen if there is a plea agreement that's ultimately reached.
It's important to remember, besides obviously he's innocent until proven guilty at the moment, but it's also...
In the court of public opinion, Diddy is guilty. They're not going to hear nothing about no proven until innocent. That nigga's guilty in the court of public opinion.
It's important to remember that not being a nice person, being an unnice person, if you will, is not a crime. They're going to have to prove the elements of the offences in these cases. Just because he might not be likable is not enough to get you locked up.
Well, I mean, that's exactly right. And this is an indictment. These are merely allegations, and he has a right to have his case tried in court. And the government has to prove that he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. The indictment, the allegations, we heard from the United States Attorney in New York, these are sordid details. They are particularly troubling as it relates to whether or not the allegations are true, or whether or not certain people, victims in the case, were given drugs at the time to get them to do these sex acts, whether or not there's been some effort to blackmail or extort or silence victims in the case by the use of videotaped and to call it pornography would probably be too nice. I would just say dark type of pornography. It sounds like. These are things that a judge is going to have to consider as we go forward.
Finally, back to the logistics, if you will. He was prepared to turn himself in today, so we understand. The arrest removed from him the almost right to bail. Since I was going to turn myself in, I'm entitled to bail if I had turned myself in. By arresting him, the prosecution removed that possibility.
Well, they certainly removed the argument for him to make that he had turned himself in. It's mighty hard to, when you fly into town on a jet and you're there, to argue that there's no possible way you could be a flight risk. And that's one of the things the judge would consider. Another thing would be the nature of the charges, the allegations that were made. They spanned a long period of time. There were efforts to influence witnesses, it sounds like. At least that's been an allegation that has been made. These are all things that get put into that decision. The fact that he just would have turned himself in, that would have been in his favor. But there are so many other factors at play that it wouldn't have surprised me to see a court dig into those a little bit in making a decision whether bail would be appropriate. And at this stage, a judge has determined that bail is not appropriate. He has a right and has done apparently so to appeal that decision and have another hearing on it. At that time, his lawyers will have a chance to make these arguments about the efforts that he was making to cooperate and to get there. The term cooperation, frankly, sometimes gets to be a little loosey-goosey, depending on who's wanting to use the argument to their benefit.
We'll talk more in the future. I'm grateful, sir. Thank you.
All right, man, and that's that, man. We chat, y'all stay around for a second, but that's that. It's looking crazy for that boy Diddy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Red dots to the left. Y'all know the rest, man. Free Avenue Angel. Free Avenue Angel until he's free. We out of here. All right. Hey, man, it's going on. Chat, what's the deal, man? Chat, what's the deal? Hoodies are coming soon. Hoodies are coming soon. Don't worry about it. They are coming. Hoodies is coming. Did I send that? Boom. All right, boom. So we finna slide to the next story because now Boosie, you feel me? Elvis James, what you got going on, bro? I'm jumping into the chat. Why? What's up, Elvis? Why they always on your head? Elvis? What's going on, Elvis? Why they always on your head? What's up, man? Why they always on you, bro? Why they don't like you? What you be doing, my nigga? I ain't finna scroll up, so I missed it. I'm starting off with he ate fake eggs, an apple, and a hockey puck this morning. That's sick. Did he definitely did eat that? Reg Dog, what's the deal? Al Khalifa, what's the deal? Westside Media, what's the deal? King Troll, Jason Marshall, Al Khalifa, I said that already. Elvis, man, what's up, bro? Why it's always you, Elvis? Why it's always you, bro? What's up, bro? Why is it always you? What's up, fam? You good? You straight? You all right? What's up, Elvis? Like, yeah, bro. Like, why it's always you, my nigga? Like, hey, bro, my mom once said, if it's always you, maybe you the problem and you got to look outside of other people and start looking at yourself. That's what my mom said. She a pretty smart lady. But don't listen to me. Elvis. But that was some pretty good advice, man. If everybody got a problem with you, maybe you the problem. You feel me? Maybe. Just maybe, big dog. I ain't saying you are, though, because I don't know what happened. So I can't say you are. I can't say you're not. Burger Lord, I don't know. Look, I can see everybody on one page, so I don't know who's on what channel, but I don't know, man. My man Elvis be having a hard time. I don't know what Elvis be going through. I got 15 minutes. All right, cool. Whoa. Baby named me Fire Wayne, and that's a shame. You could catch me in the aqua range. Jay Alexander, what's the dealio, Emilio? Oh, shit. Nope, don't need that. Cancel. Boom. All right. Let's see what Boosie got to say, man. We finna jump into Chrges Smoothington. You feel me? Man, I did not train this morning. I actually went to the doctor and I strained a muscle in my neck. It's kind of swollen, so they told me I need to chill. I actually did not go work out today. They told me to chill out in ice and heat and ice. You feel me? So I'm over here with the icy hot patch on. You feel me? I wanted to go train today, but I didn't. I'm on live with y'all, man. I'm on live with y'all, man. We live at 5. Let me see what I'm looking for. Boom. Chick Smooth. All right. We're tapping in TNN Trap News Network. We back in the same, like cracking the same. Yeah, I did get slam, but I locked in that triangle though. He tapped out. You might have slammed me, but I choked you out. So there you go. I'll take that win. We talking to my chat about my sports injury I got right here, man. Got a strained muscle, so I got to chill out on the BJJ for a minute, man. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, got to kick it for maybe a week or so. But we finna jump back into this content, man. Make sure y'all hit that content, hit that like, hit that comment, hit that subscribe button. Become a part of this Rich Rapper Mafia. Like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe, like, comment, subscribe for everything we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. Good news you can use. Good knowledge, though. You can't get nobody's college, though, big dog. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Hit that description button, find a link to the new page, Pagington. That new page is going up, man. So make sure you are a part of this new page we got going on here at TNN Trap News Network. We want you to make sure that y'all are tuned in for the new content we got going on, man. The new page will be going up. Today we shouting out to Chrges Smooth. Boosie crashes out over Diddy. Arrested over blank trafficking and sends a warning. We finna jump into this content, man. We love when Boosie gives us a warning. Let's get into it. Shout out Chrges Smooth. Let's go.
Chrges. Chrges Smooth. Appreciate all the coverage that you be doing. I've been watching your shit for a while. I just subscribe to your shit too, bro.
Hey, man, who says Diddy does not have friends in the industry? After getting arrested and put in jail yesterday, Diddy has been getting support from celebrity friends. Despite the fans and everybody wanting to see Diddy locked up, there's a good amount of his celebrity friends that are speaking out against him being arrested. Wack 100 came out yesterday defending Diddy.
Is Wack 100 the person who you want defending you in the middle of all this? Like, in the middle of all this, is Wack 100 the person who you really want defending you in all this? I don't really think so.
The Umar Johnson also did not agree with Diddy being locked up. Well, this morning, it's Boosie's turn. You guys know Boosie is very outspoken on any topic he feels like it's wrong. Boosie is somebody that's known to go against the grain and speak his mind. Now, this morning, Boosie tweeted, "I feel Diddy is in jail for basically doing what every other famous entertainer has done, flew bitches out for threesomes. He's just freakier. We're actually going to call women prostitutes who fly and willingly be with their partners for sex. If that's the case, if you've been flued out and you had sex, you should be labeled a prostitute. If that's the case, that's 80% of the women reading this. And trafficking? Hell no. You're a celebrity. You gotta fly pussy in. How else you get the pussy?" I'm sorry, man, Boosie. This is hilarious. You're never in one.
You gotta fly the coochie in. How else you gonna get the coochie? It's comedy, dude. This nigga Boosie is barnacles.
Please. When I saw that video, I was pissed off at this nigga. Like, he really got a problem. But facing life in prison for doing basically what so many other entertainers has done, I disagree. Boosie, be very careful now. Don't go telling on yourself now. I think it's obvious Boosie does not understand the actual charges that Diddy is facing. This is just his way of trying to simplify it and dumb it down. If he actually researched a little bit to see what Diddy was facing, he would know that these are pretty serious charges. He's charged with 1 count of racketeering conspiracy, 2 counts of sex trafficking, and 3 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. And on top of those charges, the court documents also include drugging underage girls, employees, and sex workers against their will. Now, Boosie continued. He said, "I'm starting to feel like this sex trafficking charge for flying bitches in for threesomes will be a tool used to take down hip-hop artists and celebrities. Just think of..."
Hey, now if flying girls in so you can bust your 1-2 step like Sierra is how they're getting you guys or getting these guys for SA or S trafficking and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be a massive decline in these hoes getting flown out. A massive decline, because that's Barnakelly.
About it. Who flying the yeah-yeahs in to turn up? Who always in a different city and gotta fly pussy to them? Who ain't tripping and go give their sex partner a little change? Think about it. This shit real. If you fly a chick in and y'all turn up and you give her a little change so she's straight when she go home, that's sex trafficking. Rappers, athletes, D-boys, politicians, be careful who you fly in. Hey, yo, why he told them politicians like that? Somebody gotta tell Boosie it does not work like that. Two consenting adults are allowed to engage in whatever they engage in. However, that is not what Diddy is being arrested for. Boosie, I rock with you, but this looks like you're panicking, my boy. Sometimes it's better to just close the phone for the day. You don't gotta send out that tweet that you think makes sense in your head. If you haven't done anything Diddy is being accused of, it doesn't pertain to you. You guys get in the comments below. Tell me what you guys think about Boosie's reaction. Post comments below. Squad that you think makes sense in your head. If you haven't done anything Diddy is being accused of, it doesn't pertain to you. You guys get in the comments below. Tell me what you guys think about Boosie's reaction. Post comments below. Squad channel like this video. I'll see you guys later, man.
I don't know what's going on. The next person asks me if I've been in one of them parties, I'm gonna slap the shit out you. They don't like my kind at them parties. There's a few other real niggas in hip hop that I don't believe ever been invited to one of them parties.
Thank you.
I'm live right now. I don't want to hear that shit. Let me explain something to y'all.
Yo, Trick Daddy is hilarious.
This is not the time to go off killing yourself, taking no medicine, drinking no bleach, eating no motherfucking poisonous candy and all that, blowing your motherfucking brains out. You know what you did? Go in and face the consequences. For those of y'all that are grown adults, we don't care who you laid down and had sex with. It's gonna get exposed right now. It's a good time to come out the closet. You know what I'm saying? But what confuses me is
Trick Daddy is burnt all the way out.
1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
Yeah, that's a lot.
They charged him with the RICO. Could have been worse. Could have been the FRICO Act.
But Frico is sick.
And may I be the first to say this has nothing to do with hip hop. This got something to do with them freaky ass niggas. Can't charge the whole hip hop community with this one. Everybody take your charge.
All right, that's that, man. That's what Trick Daddy had to say about it and all that. So we finna get up out of to the next one. Y'all know the deal, man. Red dots to the left. Y'all know the rest. Free Avenue Angel to he's free. We go. Hey, bro, this is crazy. Somebody said Trap Queen. Oh, I got you, burglar. Busters. Busters. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. Said for real, I don't know what's going on with these busters. But these busters is gonna have some problems. There's gonna be some problems for these busters. Busters. Niggas busters. Harboring rats. Hanging out with Diddy. Busters. Busters. Hey, but nah, it's tricky over there though. The 1,000 bottles. The 1,000 bottles of lubricant is where it's gonna continue to get tricky. Icky. That's where it's gonna continue to get the trickiest of the ickiest of the ickiest of the ickiest of the trickiest of the ickiest. You feel me? That shit is gonna get ugly. UGLY, you ain't got no alibi. You feel me? That shit finna get ugly. Cause yeah, man, that's the worst. Boom. So I think I'm done for this morning, y'all. I'm looking through my notes real quick to see if there's anything else I want to bring up. But I think that I'm done for this morning. Quick little morning session for y'all. I'm going to slide back later on, or maybe not. I don't know. I ain't figured it out yet. Make sure y'all tap in with the tap in, man. Red dots to the left. Y'all know the rest is Free Avenue Angel to he's free. We go.